Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, word to my brethren all across the U.S. of A. If you're watching this video, happy belated 4th of July to you. Hope you had a great time with your family and your friends and your loved ones and just all that good stuff, man. Um, Interesting story here, something I wanted to talk about that I saw on Instagram recently. Couple things, okay? So, it's been a while since I made any videos about Keith Thurman on this channel. You know, he's been aloof. He hasn't really been around in the public around the public in a while, and there hasn't really been anything too much about him as far as when he's coming back. So with Keith, you know, yesterday on Instagram, he posted well, I don't know if it was yesterday, but recently in the last few days, he posted an Instagram post with him and his wife and his, you know, they're newlyweds. So shouts out to him. Congratulations on that. Basically, it's a picture of him at the airport, posing with his wife, saying that, you know, it says, I quote, it says in the caption, "Coming back to the USA." So Keith Thurman's been out of the country for a while. He's been like in Japan and all these different countries, and he's come back to the States. And good for him, man. You know, it's good. It'll be good to have Keith Thurman back in the boxing world. You know, I think Keith, regardless of what you want to say about him, talented fighter, very analytical, very astute boxing mind, and it's always good to have him around in the boxing world. So, you know, big shout out to Keith Thurman. It was interesting because, you know, I noticed when I looked at his post, there was one person that I noticed that liked his post, and that person that liked his post was Eddie Hearn. Now, the reason this is significant is because a couple times during, especially when Eddie Hearn launched the whole thing with the zone and the $1 billion, you know, there was a lot of rumors of fighters that he was going to sign or that he was looking at or things like that. And one prominent name that kept surfacing over and over and over again was Keith one-time Thurman. And, you know, I'm going to give you guys an insight into something here, okay? So, fun fact. All right, so back in November, last November when I was in New York City, I talked to Eddie Hearn face to face. We followed each other. I mean, he followed me on Instagram, and you know, since November, I've direct messaged Eddie Hearn personally 2 times. Both times I've direct messaged Eddie Hearn, he's seen my messages instantaneously, has never responded to them. So, hey, whatever. I don't know why, but, you know, it is what it is. So this man's always on social media. He's always got his eye on what's going on, what's what. And Keith Thurman, you know, being with him, I'm sure they've communicated. I'm sure whether it be via email, via Instagram, he's not just liking his post and keeping an eye on him for no reason. He has to have some sort of vested interest in Keith Thurman. And I mean, when you look at the landscape of that welterweight division, okay, he's got Amir Khan already. He's got Kell Brook. Kell Brook's not a welterweight anymore, but he's got Amir Khan. You know, he's not going to get Danny Garcia. He's not going to get Errol Spence. He's not going to get Terrence Crawford. Keith Thurman's, you know, a guy that's been kind of in limbo, and he's the kind of fighter that I believe that Eddie Hearn would probably try to go out there and market, and that's what it looks like to me. It looks like, from what I can see and from what I've heard, and this is just me making an educated guess. I have no sources. I'm spitballing here. But I really think that I genuinely believe that when Keith Thurman does come back to the States and he does fight, that he will in some way, shape, or form have Eddie Hearn in his quarter, and you're going to see him as one of the flag bearers and one of the top name fighters on the new DAZN app. That's genuinely what I believe. I see, and another reason I think that too is because Keith Thurman knows. Keith Thurman's a smart guy. So Keith Thurman knows that it's been quite a long time since he's had an active year. You know, he's been fighting once a year. The last couple of years, it's been a while since he fought, you know, 2 or 3 times in a singular year. So I think he knows himself. Hey, I'm sure he's saying to himself, I need to be more active. I need to knock these cobwebs off, and I need to get sharp and have these fights so I can return back to the top of the welterweight division. These are the things that I believe, if Keith Thurman is still the top fighter that he thinks, I think he thinks he is, that he's thinking. These are the things he's thinking in his head. These are the thoughts that are going through his mind. So, with that being said, there's only really there's really only one. Oh, I don't want to say there's only one promoter, but I'm saying the promoter right now of the top power brokers in boxing. We're talking Heyman, we're talking De La Hoya, we're talking Arum. In terms of money and ring activity and keeping your fighters busy, out of all the major power brokers in boxing, I don't think there's anybody really at the moment, to keep them in boxing as often and as frequently as he needs to be to get back to that place he was at when he beat Sean Porter, when he nicked and barely beat Danny Garcia. You know, those are and that's the level he needs to get back to. And if even possible, he needs to surpass that level. So he had a lot of work to do. And I think he knows that. You know, I hope he's willing to put the work in. I hope he had a fun vacation with his wife. I'm sure he did. I'm sure, you know, they had themselves a great time wherever they were at in Japan and all the other places he went to. But just my honest opinion, I think he's gearing up for a move to go to Matchroom Boxing USA, and he'll be one of the faces of Matchroom Boxing USA, fighting on the Zone, headlining cards in New York. And I wouldn't even be surprised because, you know, with that whole setup and the way that is, you know, I might see a situation. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a scenario where you see him headlining a card in New York, you see him maybe on some sort of undercard or maybe headlining a smaller show in the UK and building his profile out there. Because Keith Thurman is someone that I also know in the past from watching him, from listening to him speak in different interviews. He's a well-traveled individual. He likes to see different parts of the world. So I could see him being one of the first American fighters that is being promoted, you know, in different countries. You know, as far as like you fight one fight in America, you fight one fight in England, come back to America, you fight in England, and he's do that over and over again. And I can see that for him. But we'll see, man. We'll see where his heart's at. We'll see where his ambition's at. I'm just going off something that I saw and something that was posted yesterday. So let me know what you guys think, man. Keith Thurman's back in the States finally. He looks like any moment now. You'll be hearing about him returning back into the welterweight division. And I think if you're a boxing fan and a fan of the welterweight division, that's great news for everybody and all parties involved. It's great for the fighters, it's great for the fans, it's great for the network, it's great for everybody involved. So hopefully we get to see Keith back in the ring doing his thing and just fighting at that world-class level once more. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Keith Thurman has finally back in America. Eddie Hearn out here liking his Instagram posts. Is there anything to that, or am I just reading too much into it? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.